In this tutorial, we're going to talk about the creation and manipulation of 1D, or what we call linear barcodes. Now, these are the types of barcodes that you see most often in retail and on various products and packaging. Alright, so to create a one-dimensional or linear barcode, we're going to come up here to our action item icon for creating a barcode. I'm going to click, and you can now see we have created a barcode on the screen. Now, if you look to the right, you'll see in our tabular system we do have a tab for barcode. We're going to talk about the various settings, and we're going to work our way down from the top. First thing is, how do I change the data in the barcode? By default, the data is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I want to change that, I'm simply going to type in something different into here. For example, if I want TYKMA, I can type this in. You now see that the barcode on the screen has changed the way it appears. Okay. If we go down to the next section, we have Incode. This is where you're going to choose the type of barcode that you wish to create. We do give you a lot of options. We have 2 of 5, 3 of 9, which is very common, 128 with the various subsets that allow for specific characters, and then we have UPC codes. Those are most commonly seen in retail, where you see the actual digits in the code listed underneath the barcode, so that if it does not scan, the person working the register or the scanner can type them in manually. Right now, though, we are going to leave it on 3 of 9 standard for today's tutorial. This is a very common type of barcode. So let's come back over here, click on our barcode. Now, as we move down through here, you see various settings. Let's talk about how these settings manipulate the outcome of this barcode. Alright, so the first thing we want to talk about is the height. Now, the height is an independent control, meaning we can control the height of this barcode, if I were to change it to 10, without changing the width. Okay, so we can go, within a specific width that we have to fit, and then we can adjust our height independently so that we don't grow our barcode long-wise just because we want to make it a little bit taller. We can make smaller or shorter, barcodes, and we can go up and make very, very tall barcodes. Now, the overall size of the barcode can be controlled here. So at 0.5 default value, we can go up from that. If I go to 1, you can see my barcode has grown to the point where it no longer fits on the screen. So I want to find a balance here. That's a little too small. If you come to the General tab, you can see the overall width of the barcode is 63.5. If you have a specific space you want to fit this barcode in and you know the dimensions, I recommend coming to the General tab and changing the overall width of the barcode to fit here. So let's say you have a 55 millimeter area that you can fit this barcode in. I'm going to come over here and adjust this overall width to 55. Now, it will keep me in aspect ratio, but I can come back over here now and independently control my height. So let's say I want to set my height to 10. I have now done that. Now let's talk about a couple of these other settings. We have ratio, and then let's jump down and talk about module ratio. Let's go to module ratio first. Module ratio is actually controlling the ratio of the black to the white bars, and it simultaneously adjusts the overall width of the barcode. So at 300, I can go down to, let's say, 200, and you can see the ratio and size of the black to the white has changed, and it's also changed the entire size of my barcode. Now, if we wish to maintain the footprint we were in, okay, so I'll go back to 300, which keep us at 55 millimeter width and 10 millimeter height. What I'm going to do now is go to ratio instead, because this is going to independently control the size of the black bars in relation to the white bars, but it's going to keep the overall size of the barcode the same. So if I lower this from 100, which is default, down to 50, you can see the bars get much smaller and the barcode stays the same size overall. It does not shrink from left to right, and the height does not shrink as well. Now, this is very useful in part marking applications, because when you create these very small bars and you're at, let's say, a 100% value, you have trouble sometimes getting the resolution where the laser scanner that reads these barcodes can pick up the white or the contrast difference between the two dark areas here and the white area. So lowering this ratio down will increase this overall spacing of the white area because it decreases the size of the black bars in relation to the white. Therefore, sometimes this can help improve the overall readability of the barcode that you're marking. Okay, let's move on to one final item under our barcode adjustment settings, and that's reverse. Now, typically in most packaging applications or most barcodes, you see that you are printing the black ink onto a white paper. So a barcode in the format that you're seeing it now on the screen is the same way. You have that high contrast. In part marking, you have to try to create as much contrast as possible. Now, if we were to mark on, let's say, a black piece of anodized aluminum, the markings that we create are actually going to be white in color. And what is created by the laser is the black section. And we mark this, the white code or the white area of this barcode is not marked. It's the black area that the laser processes. Therefore, if we were to mark this on black, you can see we'd be doing a reverse barcode. That would be incorrect because we'd be creating white where we're supposed to be creating dark. So what we would do on the black anodized aluminum is use this reverse feature. If we turn this on, now this creates a reverse. So now the actual black area is the area that's supposed to be white, and the white area represents the black area. Because, again, if we're marking on black anodized aluminum, we create our mark. The mark's going to be white in appearance. And then we're creating this, this buffer of white space on each side here by stripping away that black anodized aluminum, and this is called our quiet zone. So that basically tells the laser scanner as it scans across this barcode, hey, here's where you start and here's where you end. Now you can adjust the quiet zone size by making an adjustment to the quiet zone number. And you can see as I change this value, the size of the quiet zone is adjusted. Now you'll want to adjust the quiet zone to match your application, which is sometimes done with a little trial and error. And you also want to make sure that the overall size of your code still fits on your part. Now, the last part of the adjustments to this barcode are the fill. We have talked about fill settings, but I want to be very clear that you need to make sure that you're doing the proper fill. Now, because of the fact that you're creating vertical lines, it's always best practice to run at 90 degrees, which is the default value. That way your laser is scanning up and down across the part as it creates these lines, and not at a 45-degree angle and not at 0. At 0, it's going to take a lot longer because the laser is turning on and off as it jumps across each piece of this code. And I'll go ahead and return this reverse back off here. So you want to pay close attention and make sure you keep this at 90. You also want to increase your fill space to a tight fill space. Make sure that you're getting plenty of coverage as you create your black lines so that you get that nice solid dark contrast. Because laser scanners that read these types of barcodes, they need a lot of contrast, and on most direct part marking applications that contrast is not going to be as easy to gain as you get when you print a barcode with black ink on paper. So I want to show you one last tip for barcodes, and before we do that, I'm just going to delete this barcode here by clicking delete, and I'm going to first create a box. I'm going to draw a box here on the screen. Okay, and let's put this box at 0, 0. I'm going to fill this box. Okay, and I'm going to come over here to the laser tab while I have this selected and enable custom laser settings. Now we'll discuss laser settings and arranging them in a later tutorial, but for now I'm going to turn this on because I want to illustrate the feature set that I'm using here in order to gain maximum contrast. So what I would do is create this box before I create my barcode, and what this box is going to be is an area of my part that is marked to take off some of the what we would call polish or shine of the part. For example, stainless steel, or even better, if we're marking aluminum, by moving across the surface of aluminum at a very high rate, and you can see these settings in your Minilase Pro manual, we're able to almost frost to the aluminum and create a white mark. Therefore, if we create a large box on the part, with these settings, we can create a large white frosted box on our part, in particular with aluminum, and it also helps again with steel, stainless, and other materials in order to create a nice background. After we do that and set that up, we'll then create our barcode over top of that. So you can see if I create my barcode over top, then I can create these dark markings with my settings here on the barcode, and I'll get the maximum contrast. So this is a tip or a trick in order to gain higher amounts of contrast between the background of your part and the barcode. And if you want further clarification on the optimum settings for this, again, you can consult your Minilase Pro software manual, or feel free to contact TYKMA at 877-318-9562 and ask for a technician, and we'll be more than happy to give you some tips and pointers on your part and optimizing your settings, as well as any time you can send your parts in to us. We can come up with the best settings for you and provide those to you.